I don't know if it's necessarily breaking news, guys, but I was watching SportsCenter, and apparently OTAs are going on. So far, Aaron Rodgers has perfect attendance in New York, something we haven't seen for a while. But while he was working out with the other quarterbacks, he seemed to have hurt his ankle. It doesn't appear to be too serious, but he is no longer practicing today. Thoughts on this, Brady?
It's early, so I don't think there's anything too much to be concerned about. You can see him out there on the field. He is walking around. It wasn't like they took him off on a stretcher or something, and he's there talking to his buddy, Nathaniel Hackett. So a little bit of cause for concern if you're the Jets, only because this is the reality. He is older. You run more of an injury risk with an older player, quarterback probably more so. But, again, it's still early in the year. And I think if you're a Jets fan and you're like, see, this is why we should have went and got him. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do work. This is why we should have went and got him.
Should have went and got him?
Shouldn't have went and gotten him. Sorry, you sometimes when you get talking really fast.
Should have went and got him. I don't know what's down there.
I thought that was your Brinson voice.
It was my Brinson voice. And so
I think the win and got him part is what confused everybody, including myself, even hearing myself talking.
Should have got him. That would be the concern for those Jets fans who are like, why do we give up what we gave up to get him? All that. Okay, look, here's the reality. Robert Saleh said this today. There's about 6 to 8 teams that have a legitimate shot of winning a Super Bowl this year right now when you look at the rosters. The Jets are one of them, and he's right.
Yeah.
And it's because they have Aaron Rodgers. If you don't take that risk, then you're not one of those 6 to 8 teams. And so the rest of the leagues can talk about it, but the truth of the matter is, unless it's Mahomes, Rodgers, Allen, Burrow, Jackson, unless those are your quarterbacks, you probably really don't have a shot.
Bring that video of Aaron Rodgers back up real quick. And now scroll to the right, please. Not down, to the right. That's what we're looking for. What's that trending? What's that number one trending topic? Is that Zach Wilson, I see?
Wilson.
It is indeed Zach Wilson trending there, which, if you're watching on YouTube, you don't really need to be because you could be listening to us say Zach Wilson, tell you that Zach Wilson is trending. The visual, but thank you for the visual. That was helpful. I think that this is not a situation where it's like, oh, we shouldn't have went and got him. It's do you like that?
Oh, what is it, Will? Tell us.
It simply speaks to the fragility of NFL seasons, particularly when you have a heavy investment in an older quarterback. Yeah. And that's just the reality of the matter. This applied to Tom Brady the last few years. This applies to Russell Wilson and the Broncos last year. It applies to Russell Wilson and the Broncos this year. You can make a good trade, a trade that is objectively an intelligent maneuver, and it can still end up poorly for you. Like the Browns when they got Deshaun Watson. Probably a good trade from a vacuum perspective.
What did you say?
What's that?
Deshaun Watson? Okay, sorry.
Deshaun Watson, yes. They anytime you go out and trade a lot of assets for a veteran quarterback, you're just running the risk because you make the line that you have to walk a little bit tighter in terms of how you're going to perform this season. Now, this is not me saying that the Jets should have done it. They should. Your point correct is 100% correct, Brady. They are one of the few teams. 8, 10 teams?
I don't think there's 10. I think we're going to stop at 8. I mean, if we're talking about who would legitimately have a shot, where we know this year, like the handful of teams you can throw in the NFC.
Well, let's say Bills, Jets, Bengals, Ravens,
Chiefs.
Well, I'm just going through the divisions.
49ers?
Okay, guys, I'm clearly starting in the AFC and working my way down through the AFC.
Relax.
Jaguars, yes or no?
I mean, legitimate shot. I don't know that I'm throwing that category yet.
Right, that's fine. Chiefs, yes, obviously. Chargers, I say no. Broncos, no.
No, I mean, all those teams fall in that next tier of like.
Agreed. Eagles, yes. Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears, no. Bucks, Panthers, Saints, Falcons, no. And Niners. So you have 6 teams that are like, and the Niners, we need to see it with the quarterback too.
Yeah. But
just given the NFC,
total is
given the NFC, we gotta have 2 teams in the NFC that can win the Super Bowl, right? Right?
I'm telling you, if the NFL really want to start tweaking things to make it interesting, just reseed. I know the NBA talked about doing it, but like re-rack. Like, let's just forget about the conferences once we get there. I know no one's going to buy into this, but it would actually equate to finding out.
Fun.
Well, you would say like that's the one true team to win it, right? Where sometimes we look at the AFC Championship game, we go, maybe that was the better of the two games. So,
wow. Do you agree with Captain Spock that the Jets took a chance on the biggest playoff choke artist in NFL history?
I mean, he's got a Super Bowl. So
I see.
I'll tell you what, he hadn't won a Super Bowl since he won a Super Bowl, though.
That is true. And when you count up the rest of the Super Bowls the Jets have won, you kind of go, all right, maybe they've got a better shot than people realize. So
yeah, no, I agree that the Jets are in that mix because of Rodgers. Coming out of the AFC makes it tough. The point for me is just that he's an older quarterback. He's playing on a field that's had some injury history before. He's playing in a new place with new trainers, whole new. There's a lot of changes, and it can be difficult to walk that tightrope sometimes. And for Rodgers,
notice how Billy always seems to get in the Eagles fans post.
Very surprising. You could write Eagles fart.
The Eagles
too, and like it would get posted.
Exactly. The Eagles were part of that group, and we also included San Francisco, and it really isn't. I mean, now you'd say it's Jalen Hurts in that roster, but you would have said last year is because the roster was that good. And I think the Eagles, we've made that case, and not to upset Eagles fans, but if you don't think they have an easier path through the NFC, you're out of your mind. Like you're lying to yourself. You probably have unrealistic thoughts about a lot of other things in life. If you don't think it's an easier path, when we just listed out the teams that you've got to go through in the AFC versus the NFC, like San Francisco.
Does anybody think differently?
I don't know. That guy probably
don't even go there. Yes, they do.
This is not an Eagles podcast. I mean, it's like the Eagles have already won the NFC. Congratulations. You're in the Super Bowl.
Let's see who you play. Their job. All right. Tell them to go back to work and what they're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.